I know from now on, when I share worth, I have to like already have the item sold, already have it out the door. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. Today's video is all about vintage teacups. We're going to talk about all sorts of different things about them, all different kinds. And while doing this, we are going to look through my vintage teacup collection. Now, if you want to know more about displaying vintage teacups, I do have a video about that. I will link it above and below in the description, okay? So you can check that out if you want to learn more about making your cups look fabulous in your home. So grab yourself a hot beverage, let's get cozy. Now, I was sent this gorgeous mystery box from Magic Hour Tea. So we're gonna open it up, see what is inside, and then I'm gonna try one of the teas and I'm gonna join you getting all cozy with a hot beverage. Cut, cut, cut. Cut, cut, cut. All right, you get first look. Ooh, what a beautiful box. Let's dig in. So first, we got a list of the moon phases. Okay, I absolutely love this. This is going on my fridge. We got a booklet. Oh, I love this. Ooh, and look at this beautiful card. Oh my gosh, this is talking about teas for the moon cycle. I adore this. By the way, I'm actually filming this video on the night of a full moon. Okay, so we got Queen of the South. We got Capricorn. Oh goodness, these are beautiful, aren't they? We have Sagittarius. I can't get over the packaging. It's beautiful, it's witchy, it's just gorgeous. Let's see. Ooh, we got Gemstone Wellness Tea. That's beautiful. I bet that's the color pink. And then Queen of the Rainforest. Beautiful. I'm kind of drawn to this. Ooh, and oh my gosh, there's a lot of goodies in here. Okay, this isn't just packaging. There are things in here. Ooh, what a beautiful tea strainer. That is gorgeous. It's in gold. Love this. Ooh, and there's something else here. What is it? What is it? Ooh, how cute is that? Oh my gosh, this teaspoon, it has a strainer on the end. I love that. That's neat. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that before. Oh my goodness, they really loaded me up. Okay, here's another little baggie. Ooh, and this is the moon, and it's a larger tea bottle. I love that. Oh, and there's, oh my goodness, there's another little package. Ooh, I bet this is another tea. Okay. Ooh, Amethyst Gemstone Wellness. Beautiful. I bet this one's a color tea as well. Okay, and there's one last thing in here. Ooh, okay, so this is a rose quartz heart tea infuser. Ooh, so this is one of those beautiful tea infusers that you dangle into the tea, and look, it has rose quartz on the end. Rose quartz is for self-love. I love this. Okay, I'm gonna get myself a cup of tea. I'm gonna give you my opinions on it, and then let's get going. Y'all, when I saw this tea was a beautiful purple color, look at that. Oh my gosh, I was like, do I even have a teacup pretty enough for this? And I grabbed this forget-me-not teacup. All right, here we go, first taste. Oh wow. Oh, that's good. That's real good. Okay, let's get going. Now, vintage teacups, vintage teapots are something that I consider still a pretty affordable vintage item, and it's pretty affordable to collect. You can still find these at thrift stores, every antique store. I thought I'd show you this one I just picked up. That's the price on that one. And then this teacup, this is a beautiful teacup. It's got like the three muses on it. I only paid $4.99 for that. Now we will talk about some very expensive teacups at the end, but really this is about a collectible that has a low entry point, a low cost. Yeah, we're not going to talk too much about teacup brands either, because I think you should collect what you find beautiful and what you like. It doesn't necessarily need to be a certain brand. Now, let's talk antique teacups. Now, I love a bougie teacup, and my favorite kind of antique teacup is these highly dimensional made in German teacups. These are really easy to spot because of how dimensional they are. They're really gaudy, they're over the top, and they are priced a little higher than vintage teacups because people can kind of tell that they're antique and older, but you can still find them at pretty good prices. And I just think they are stunning works of art. Now, the design of the teacup really helps you know how to display them, okay? Some teacups look better from looking down on them than from the side. The pattern is really inside the teacup and not so much on the side of the teacup. Other teacups, the pattern really is on the side and the inside is pretty plain. Now, you will sometimes find ones that have patterns on the inside and outside, although they usually pick or choose. One is usually more than the other. These aren't as easy to find with the decoration on the inside and outside, but they are absolutely beautiful. Now, some people do collect teacups that have the double plate, so it's a set of 3. What you're looking at there is the teacup, the saucer, and like a snack plate or a bread plate. Now, here's a trick to tell if the small plate you have with the teacup is actually the saucer. Now, you can put it on here and it moves around a lot. The plate feels too big. That's probably a snack plate or a bread plate. The saucer is going to have a little divot for the cup. It keeps it from wiggling around and it just feels more to size. So that's a good way to know if you have a marriage on your hands. Is this actually the saucer that goes with it, or is it a snack plate? And while we're talking about marriages, what people mean is the pieces don't exactly fit. I love this setup of this red design teacup with this beautiful gold pink depression glass plate. It is definitely a marriage. It was not supposed to be together, but I think it is gorgeous. And sometimes it's actually hard to tell if you have a marriage. I picked up this gorgeous Asian style teacup and saucer, and I thought they were a pair, but they absolutely aren't. When I got them home, it was very obvious that they just kind of had the same Asian vibe. They were not a real pair, but I think they look gorgeous together anyways. And also, pairing up teacups is a really great way to be sustainable with your collections. A lot of times the cup gets broken or the saucer gets broken. And if you're able to put them together and make another beautiful set, why not? I do find glass teacups are a little harder to find generally. I absolutely love this pink depression glass one with the deco shape. It is super unique. And one glass teacup that is hard to find is the depression glass green. This is the horseshoe pattern. Very, very gorgeous. These are very sought after. And the reason is if you shine a black light on it, it shows you that this is indeed uranium glass. Do you see that glow, that uranium glow? So I just take my black light with me when I'm thrifting and antiquing to check for uranium glass. People make whole displays of uranium glass, the backlit with black light, and it glows. It's beautiful. I actually did a whole dining set on my channel of uranium glass that was customized, super beautiful. So be on the lookout for these. They're special and they have a secret. Now, another unique type of teacup you can find are these ones that are much thicker, much more sturdy, and these are called restaurant ware. And that's exactly what you think. These were used in restaurants. Much more hardy. I will say these are a little bit harder to find, but some people just collect all restaurant ware. Now, as I've said time and time again, I really like bougie teacups. But a bougie teacup style I think people really sleep on is lusterware. All that means is it has a type of reflection that kind of has a bit of a rainbow to it. It has a luster, if you will. Now, when you think of lusterware, people will think of a very specific kind of lusterware. Typically, it is orange. There's also some traditional patterns that are orange and blue, and they have kind of a scene of a lake, a tree, and a little building. Very traditional to see. But there's also really gorgeous lusterware in the Art Deco period. Now, the pieces I have here are a little bit more unique designs, but seriously, you can find these for great values. I think I got each of these sets for under $5. And there are all kinds of lusterware cups, like the ones even behind me on the shelf. A lot of those have that rainbow luster to them, and I'm super attracted to them. Some of my favorites are those geometric luster cups. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. This might be one of my favorite cups of all time, and it is luster. It doesn't show very well on the camera, but trust me, it is luster. And oh my gosh, I just love a teacup with little feet. I feel like he's just gonna get up and walk away. Also, probably my most bougie teacup I've ever found was luster. It is this one with that weird kind of shaped cup, the cameo, the rainbow colors. This is an epic example of luster, and I paid all of $1 at a thrift store for it. Some people collect specifically hand-painted teacups. Now, the longer I'm at this, the more I can kind of spot a hand-painted teacup. A lot of teacups have a design on it that's called transfer. It's printed onto the teacup. And then if you go a little bit higher scale, they have transfer with painted accents. And that gives it that slight, subtle relief that you can tell there were brush strokes. Oftentimes you will see a 3D type of painting. Now, people call this moriage or moriage. Depends who you ask. It is very common on a Asian style teacup called dragonware. Isn't that cool how three-dimensional that is? It's so good. Also, you can notice that some gold accents also are given that kind of three-dimensional look with the painting. Here is a beautiful example of a hand-painted Nippon teacup with a ton of texture and relief. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, this is demi-tasse size. This is a tiny one. And look at that portrait. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, this is a really special teacup. It was actually a gift. And some people collect teacups that just feature cameos or like portraits like this of people. That would be a gorgeous collection. Also, here's a tip. If you found a teacup that is marked Nippon, you know you found an antique teacup. Now, I wanted to include this type of teacup. I didn't know where to put it in this video. This is actually a brand. It's called Wedgwood. But I wanted to show you the relief on this and how that is really kind of different. This isn't like painted on. It isn't really sculpted on. It is kind of like a mold. So I just wanted you to see that. This is a very specific type of cup, and a lot of people will just collect Wedgwood because it has all kinds of designs, all kinds of colors, and they all kind of go together. They all kind of look similar with kind of like a Greek vibe. Now, teacups generally have floral designs and motifs. That's just A majority of them are going to have that, okay? One very specific design type is called chintz, and that is where you're going to have a pattern all over the teacup. Just know this is very desirable. These can cost a little more money with a chintz pattern. There's all sorts of chintz patterns. They're really beautiful. But you can have teacups that are like souvenirs of events, like the World's Fair, or ones that have scenes of places. Acorns and leaves, all sorts of styles of teacups. It really is limitless. There are teacups that celebrate anniversaries, birth months, holidays like Christmas. There are Christmas teacups, and there are even teacups like this. Secret Society. This is the Order of the Eastern Star. It is the women's branch of the Freemasons. And this teacup celebrates that. Now, I love this teacup. It has a unique shape, and even the divot on the tray is a unique shape. So as you can see, teacups can have all kinds of themes, and you can even collect by theme. I mean, heck, you could collect teacups that were all your favorite flower. You can also collect teeny tiny teacups. Now, I have a regular size teacup here just for display, so you can see the size difference. Some teeny tiny teacups have different purposes, but a lot of them really are just little display pieces. Now, those two green teacups I know are chocolate teacups for sure. And you want to know why I know? Because I have the chocolate pot. Now, I can tell by the shape, the style, and kind of the age of this that this is indeed a chocolate pot. Chocolate was a common drink back in the day, so beautiful little set. I actually thrifted this. I was so excited to find all those pieces together. You don't often find like the little extras for tea, the little accoutrement. But the one thing you do often find are sugar and creamers. You'll very often find sugars and creamers together, sometimes separated. Things get separated. But even some people collect just sugar and creamers. There are all kinds you can collect, all kinds of styles. Sometimes they even have an under tray. I have a Deco one here, and this Art Nouveau one I have with an under tray. Now, I do think that's a marriage. I do think that tray just matches really well. I don't think it actually goes with it. And these gorgeous silver plate ones in the back. And believe it or not, these kind of like super organic, wonky looking ones, this is a sugar and creamer too. Very Art Nouveau, hand painted, gorgeous, very unique pair in my collection. I think silver plate is another one of those items that is extremely undervalued and underpriced right now. I think silver plate items are absolutely stunning and gorgeous, especially the antique ones. And I'm not talking about sterling silver or true silver plate. In fact, I like the ones that say quadruple plate on the bottom. That's not real silver. It just tells me that it is a true antique. But I think they're gorgeous. Now, I have noticed some thrift stores are starting to price them a little higher, but you can still get a great deal. So this is my favorite one in my collection. Look at that crescent moon. Isn't that gorgeous? And yes, she was thrifted, but this is my absolute favorite one. Absolutely gorgeous. Double-sided design. I think this is stunning, and I think this type of teapot is absolutely overlooked. Oh, and I love mine with the patina. You can shine this up if you want, but I love the patina. It tells the age and it tells the story. Now, you may be wondering, after I said one pot was a chocolate pot, how do you tell the difference between a teapot and the other ones? Like, how do you tell the difference? What type it is? Well, you remember that little rhyme? I'm a little teapot, short and stout. That's how you know a teapot from the other pots. It'll be short and stout, just like this yellow one here that looks just like Aladdin's lamp. I love that. And behind it is that chocolate pot that we talked about, and the shape and the age tells me that's a chocolate pot. Next to it is a gorgeous 70s mid-century coffee pot. Now, see the difference in the shape? That is definitely taller, so that's for coffee. And then in the back, you have a pitcher that is for like water or punch. And the reason we know that is because the way it has the big open mouth. And it also has a little catch to catch the ice. And then I included one more bonus in here. This is called a ewer. Now, as I believe this was used for like dressings and oils, most people just put these on display now because they're beautiful. They used to be very popular, I guess, in the 80s to decorate with them. But just so you know, that's what that is. And then there also is a more stout open mouth type. Rounder, shorter, big open mouth. That one is specifically for cider. I don't have any of those in the house right now. Now, some teapots will have a strainer right inside them. So when you find a vintage teapot and maybe the lid doesn't fit perfectly snug, okay? So let's take the strainer out and let's put the lid on. And you notice like the lid, that does not fit. That is not good, right? That gives you a cue that it is missing the strainer, okay? I use my vintage teapots just for display, so it doesn't really bother me if the teapots are missing a piece. You also always want to check under the lid very carefully because you don't want to break these. A lot of teapots, coffee pots, have this little nub. And what that does is it helps this stay on when it pours, but so many people break the lip of these because they slam it down, not realizing that piece is there, or they pull it up and break the lid. So be very careful when you take lids off, okay? A lot of them do have that little catch, okay? So that is something you need to look out for. I just love this coffee pot. It is so kitschy and so cute. Now, I'm a big believer of living with your vintage. So if you want to use your teapots, vintage teacups, by all means do that. I think that's amazing. Just keep in mind, especially with teapots, they can have a lot of crazing. And what that is teeny tiny little cracks all over in the glaze. And if you use those for coffee and tea, you could permanently stain them, okay? So just keep that in mind. Also, if you use them to hold flowers and such, you can permanently stain them as well. And, you know, like I said, do what you want to do, but I really keep these pieces as display pieces. You also can collect all kinds of little tea accessories from jars. You've probably seen the beautiful tins. I just picked up a stunning tin at a $1 million estate sale I went to recently. You can also find all kinds of styles of tea bag holders. I really like the kitschy ones. The cool thing about this one is it actually stands up as well, so you can use it as a figurine when you're not using it to hold your tea bag. Please do keep in mind the tea might stain this item. And I love the items we got in the Magic Hour box. I just realized this isn't just a spoon. This is a loose leaf tea straw. So you can have loose leaf tea and you can drink it with the straw. So cool. I don't have anything like that. And I love the piece with the quartz. I will be using that all the time. Quartz is for self-love, and I look at drinking a hot beverage as an act of self-love. And to close this video out, let's dig into some special teacups from my collection. Now, I showed you this earlier. This is called Dragonware. Absolutely gorgeous. I actually thrifted this for 79 cents at the Ark, which is a religious thrift store. However, sometimes these have a lithopane at the bottom. And what that is an image that is created through the density of the porcelain. Then the name of this turns from Dragonware to Geisha-ware. So it has a geisha inside. Now, typically the image is a geisha's face, but this one has a dirty image, and I got it at a religious thrift store. So they didn't know it was in there, and yeah, till death do us part, I will keep this cup forever. Now, I absolutely love anything related to fortune telling, divination, and this is a mid-century or a little bit earlier fortune telling teacup. Isn't that gorgeous? All the symbols. Now, you would read tea leaves with this, where the tea leaves fall. Absolutely gorgeous. This was actually a gift from my friend Heather, and I simply love it. And now this teacup. This is a very special teacup. Now, looking straight on in it, it looks like a regular teacup, right? The plate. But when you look inside it, it is also a fortune-telling teacup. So, just like I said earlier in the video, where certain teacups should be displayed so you can see the side or you can see the top, this teacup from the 1920s-ish, this would be displayed higher up so people wouldn't know you had a fortune-telling teacup, okay? So this was meant to hide the fortune-telling, where that other one, it was pretty obvious that was what it was. This one, it's more of a secret. So I absolutely love these. Also, if you're looking for these fortune-telling teacups, they can be quite expensive. However, if you look online, there's a lot of amazing reproductions for significantly less. They're gorgeous. They look amazing. You can get your hands on something very similar to this for not that much money. So you may be thinking, Catherine, what's so special about this teacup? Well, I have never seen a silver plate teacup in person before I received this gift. I received this from my friend Heather. Both my friends named Heather are great enablers of my teacup collection. Thank you, ladies. But yeah, these are not common at all. I don't know why. I don't know why teacups weren't made in the silver plate, in the metal, but they're not common. Not common at all. You can look online right now and maybe find one for sale out of the hundreds of thousands of teacups you can find for sale. This one's also really great because it has a mustache guard. So that is exactly what it sounds like. It's to guard your mustache. So this is actually a man's teacup. And the last teacup I'm going to share with you is this gorgeous Ainsley cabbage rose. Absolutely gorgeous. This is the most valuable teacup in my collection. Oftentimes teacups with cabbage rose designs can be really pricey. And this gorgeous design is signed by J.A. Bailey. That is a really good name to look for teacup design with higher value. I actually had a video where I thrifted this and sold it for $500. And what ended up happening was I posted that video, and the person who purchased it, they actually canceled the order. And then people must have saw my video, because all of a sudden this type of teacup was flooded. The market was flooded. There were so many of these posted, and everybody was undercutting the price trying to sell theirs. And so the prices dropped significantly. These sell for less than $200 now. And it's because I shared the secret of what this teacup was worth. So I know from now on, when I share worth, I have to already have the item sold, already have it out the door. So that is all I have for you today, my friends. So please give me a like, please give me a subscribe if you're interested in vintage content. And if you made it all the way to the end, leave a little moon emoji, okay? And if you're interested in how to style vintage teacups, you can check out this video right here. Stay creative, y'all, and bye!